real quick, the way Todd and I connected is extremely brief. I went to an Ocean meeting. Todd's the founder of Ocean, 7,200 active members in that network. They have monthly mixers in the neighborhood of 150 to 200 people. And I attended one of his meetings, and I call him the next day because I want to talk about his arrangement with that venue, because I'm looking for new venues for our group. And he was just had all this information to help. And then somehow it just came up, look, for as much as you network, do you speak? And he's like, well, yes, I do. And so, funny you should ask. And so, I was looking from day one to have our very first meeting, whatever month it was, on the topic of how to network effectively. So far we've had 4 meetings. And by a show of hands, who has met with someone outside of the group that they met in the group? 2 people. Wonderful. There's a case study for you. Yeah. So that is just, it's just one way of networking. But it's relationships. And that is what this chapter is about. Beyond just this chapter, but connecting with people outside. We have some Ocean guests here. Todd is an expert in the field. He is not just about collecting business cards. He's not just about handing out business cards. He's about an actual connection, whether it be email, phone, or in person. And that is why he is such an asset to Ocean, why Ocean is as large as Ocean is, because it's not just a place to just smatter business cards around. Because that is just, that's face-to-face spam is what it is. So if you guys would just welcome Todd, I'm so appreciative that he's here.
Hi. I'd like to thank you all for coming out. And, I can spend an hour here and kind of give you the basics of how to network, but I'm going to sum it up for you. Don't be an idiot. It's really what it boils down to. Thank you. Good night. A lot of people are idiots. A lot of people in this room, don't take it personally, are idiots. I see a couple of heads nodding. Right. One of the little things that we noticed is there's a big crowd of people here. Big crowd of people here for a meeting on how to network. And people are grabbing food and sitting down alone at a table. Just wondering, what were you thinking? You can share food. You don't have to eat off the same plate, but there was an old book years and years and years ago, Never Eat Alone. Some of you are old enough to remember that. Some of you make me feel really, really, really old that I remember that. But really, just take 2 seconds, and rather than sitting here, sit down next to somebody. And I realize that breaks a social mores. It's socially, you're saying, there's this huge room, why would I want to sit next to somebody? I want to give them their personal space. Well, in a room full of strangers, yeah, that makes sense. In a room full of people who are here to network, it makes no sense. These are people who want to meet you, in theory. Now, it's possible that you may be an idiot and they don't want to meet you, but until they've spoken to you, it's a little hard to tell. I guess the first thing we'll start with is the types of networking. There are big groups, like if you come to Ocean. It's this huge, huge room full of people. 150, 200 people in a couple of hours. Will you be able to meet everyone there? No way in heck. I'm trying to keep my language down. It's a state place. But can you meet some of them? Yes. Yes. Good. Then let's do it. If you're in a smaller group, let's say 25, 30, can you meet everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Will you meet everyone? Depends on how much time you've got. If you've got 10 minutes, you better not meet all of those people. Because then you're just a spammer, basically, a face-to-face spammer. If you are sitting down one-on-one, can you meet everyone? Hopefully. that or you're really confusing to me, because if you're sitting down across the table from somebody and you're not talking to them, I'm baffled. And different people have different comfort zones. Some people really love one-to-one. You know, you run into somebody, hey, great to meet you, here's who I am, here's, I can spend an hour talking to you, no problems. Other people, that is terrifying. Because if you've got to spend an hour with a person, you can't just pass pleasantries. You've got to actually give them a little bit of yourself. You've got to talk to them about who you are. And that may not be your comfort zone. So fine. Find a place that is your comfort zone to start. If you really just want to spend that couple of minutes, go to a larger event where you can spend 5, 10 minutes with somebody. And I mean that 5 to 10 minutes. Networking, I try to think of as kind of dating. And it's just one of those weird things where when you go to some of these events, you have some people who don't quite look at it that way. They want to get everything now. That's like going on your first date and kind of expecting to get some action at the end of the night. It can happen, but both parties kind of have to be on the same page for that. If you look at it as a longer-term thing, say, hey, the first time I'm meeting somebody, I'm just getting to know you. I'm saying, here's who I am, here's who you are, let's take it from there. If there's a connection, then you go on a second date. You get together for lunch. You get together for breakfast. You say, hey, I'm going out to this event. Are you going to be there? The third date, then maybe you want to make some action happen. You say, hey, I've got this deal I've been working on, and I think you're a good fit for it. Let's see if we can't make something happen. This way you're not so pushy, where you really find that particularly in this market, where you've got people who are in transition, to use the kind term. And I cannot tell you how many times I have been to events where people are handing out their business card with their resume attached. When I see somebody like that, it's, oh look, there's a section of the room that's just not near him. And it's not just the help me find a job, help me find a job, help me find a job. It's, ooh, I want to sell you something. Or, ooh, I've got a business deal. Or, ooh, I'm this. Or, ooh, I'm that. And what can you do for me today? And most people find that sort of a person to be what? An idiot. Think about it. Would you want to have 100 people come up to you, say, do this for me now? Probably not. One is not too bad. And that's the mindset that these people are. Well, I'm just one person asking for a favor. I'm just one person asking for this or that or the other thing. But you're probably not meeting just one person. Most of the time you're meeting a couple of people or hundreds of people over the course of a week or the course of a month or the course of a year. If you're me, where I've got this insane network of about 25,000 people, and I average about 100 emails a day coming in from my network, yeah, I can have 100 people on any given day saying, help me find a job. Well, I'd love to, but I've got a job. I have to do that job. I also have to sleep and maybe say hello to my wife at some point and pet the cat and, oh God, feed the cat, because I've used my cat and just fat cat. It's bad. But if you try to think, how would I like people to approach me and approach them that way. The concept of pay it forward. If I go out there and I say, I really want people to treat me nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat people nice. And does it always work that everybody comes back and treats you nice? No. But if you've got enough people who are treating you nice in return, guess what? You hang with them. You go out on second and third dates with them, rather than the idiots. When you're meeting with people, how do you meet them? If you're at an event like this, find somebody who looks friendly, who looks like this is somebody I can talk to. And then find the commonality. And in this room, finding the commonality should be pretty easy. Show of hands, how many people live in Orange County? Okay. How many people have gone to Fullerton? All right. Not everybody, but it's certainly a starting ground. How many people attended Fullerton in the 80s? Okay. How many in the... But still,
I'm an old man.
I know the feeling. But you've got things in common. How many people wear glasses? Okay, fine. Hey, what's your prescription? You've got something that you can approach with. And this is a perfect stranger. Somebody you have absolutely nothing in common right off the bat with. You look for the commonality. One of the things that I do, and this is just my personal thing, is I try to learn how to say hello and pass basic pleasantries in as many languages as I possibly can. So if I'm talking to somebody and I find, oh, you're from Mexico? ¿Cómo está? Now, my Mexican version of Spanish stops about there, but most people say, wow, you've made the effort. If you're ever in the Philippines, believe it or not, I can say, patutugin mo yung funky musika putin bata, which is, play that funky music, white boy, which doesn't always come in handy, but you never know. Just finding these little commonalities. And when you find a commonality, people open up. People open up like you would not believe. If you are in a room and you find out that you grew up in the same town, same tiny little town as somebody, or you shared a kindergarten teacher, all of a sudden, not only do you have something in common, you've got a bond. You've got a bond that has started immediately. And if you can find what that tiny little thing is, and there's, for any given person, there are hundreds and hundreds of these little things that you can connect on. And that really opens the door. And it's all about communication. And communication is about trust. And trust is about not how we're different, but how we're the same. So look for them. Another way to not be an idiot, politeness. Politeness is just so simple. Hello. Please. Thank you. Please turn off your cell phone. Thank you for turning off your cell phone. These are the really simple things that anybody can do. And again, little things. You miss them, you come across as a little bit of an idiot. Sorry. But it's one of those things where just doing it opens doors, and missing it closes them. See how you can help people. And this is all part of the paying it forward, but just when you come across somebody, it's not just what can you do for me, but what can I do for you? I mean, ultimately it's really nice if you meet somebody and it's like, wow, we've got so much in common. I'm an accountant. Hey, I'm looking for an accountant. Well, I'm a lawyer. Funny you should say that, because that does happen, but not that often. But if you say, how can I help you? Now all of a sudden this person is predisposed to help you. Let's say, I need an accountant. Hey, I'm an accountant. Well, I'm looking for a lawyer. Hey, you know what? I'm not a lawyer, but I know one. Or I've got a friend who is. And sometimes, if you come to one of my meetings, you'll sometimes see me running around like an absolute idiot, because I'll talk to somebody and they'll say, well, you know, this is what I do, but, you know, and this is what I'm looking for. And it's like, you know, 2 minutes ago, I met somebody who is a perfect fit. Come here. And you drag them across a crowded room and you make the introduction. What do I get out of that? Today, nothing. Next week, here are 2 people who now remember, hey, that Todd guy's all right. Let's see if we can help him. Does it always work? No. Volume, volume, volume. You help enough people, you would be amazed at the sort of things that happen. One of the really important things about networking, and this is just an amazing one, is get up. Stand up out of your chair and go meet people. I hate people. Believe it or not. I am just not a people person at all. Given half a chance, I'm going to sit in a dark room and crunch numbers, because that's what I like. That's my comfort zone. I'm a mathematician. I like numbers. And people aren't them. So when LinkedIn rolled around, and I said, you know, you do have to network. I said, here's the perfect world for me. I can connect with people without actually having to talk to them or meet them or interact with them in any meaningful way whatsoever. That didn't last very long, especially as I started learning more about how to successfully network, and as my network started growing and growing and growing and growing. And I found myself sort of this idiot savant of networking. I am now the 36th most connected person on the planet, according to LinkedIn. To give you some sense of scale, Barack Obama is number 39. And then people start saying, well, but, you know, that's just kind of collecting business cards. And it started that way. It really did. It was just, my collection's bigger than yours. But it's not effective. You don't get anything done that way. And I like to get things done. So I started reaching out to people and started communicating with people. And now out of this 25,000 people in my network, I've communicated via email with probably 80 to 85% of them. I have probably spoken on the phone or met with a couple of thousand of them. And I've had lunch with a few hundred. And you want to do this. You want to get up out of your chair and make things happen. Because that's where the trust comes in. And that's where the success comes in. And that's where the really fun part comes in. Even if you don't like people, like me. There are some really, really bad networkers out there. Some real idiots. Just don't be one of them. Just follow basic common sense. Have an idea of who you are when you get out there. How many people here have a business background? Show of hands. Okay. So I'm assuming most of you understand the concept of an elevator pitch. Okay. You are your brand. You are your business. Have your elevator pitch. In 30 seconds or less, tell me who you are. Tell me what you do and tell me what you're looking for. Now, don't get out there and say, hi, I'm Todd, I'm a networker, and hi, I'm Todd, I'm a networker, and hi, I'm Todd, I'm a networker. And that doesn't really do the trick. You want to interact with people. And that's not interacting, that's being an idiot. So have your elevator pitch, and you don't open with that. Say, hi, I'm Todd. Who are you? And then if the conversation goes that way, and people say, so tell me, what do you do? Let's see. Because that makes you look nervous, and when you're nervous, it doesn't always come across as smoothly and as professionally as you'd like to come across. Going back to the dating metaphor, if you show up for your first date and you're sweaty pits and sweaty palms, you're probably not going to get that second date. But if you come across as confident and secure in who you are, you've got a slightly better chance. So you've got your elevator pitch. You work it into the conversation naturally. Get a business card, if it makes sense. You know, if you talk to somebody and it's like, wow, you are a multi-level marketing salesperson and that's all you do. Yeah, it's been really nice meeting you. Have a pleasant day. And move on, because life is pretty short. Now, for all I know, half of you are multi-level marketers, and I apologize, it's just not my cup of tea. Because, again, I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those on a weekly basis. Another thing to keep in mind is cultural sensitivity. And this one is just really, you either get it or you don't. And it's tricky. I'm not going to try and teach that here. But just try to be aware. One of the things I notice frequently is we have about a 50-50 mix of male-female at our events. And a lot of people are coming from work, and some women dress nicer than others. And I can't tell you how many times I see people going, hi, I'm, and, you know, eyes up here. You know, you're not making a good business impression. You're not making a good personal impression. You know, don't take the dating metaphor that far. Although we do have nights where you know, there is a lot more activity at the bar than you know, out on the floor mixing and matching. Another item, business cards. Anybody here not have business cards?
Yeah. First time here, I definitely did. First thing I realized when I walked in.
Get business cards. You know, you really need them. And this is a pet peeve of my wife's. Make sure your business cards make sense. We have, I mean, at home, boxes and boxes and boxes of okay, feet and feet and feet of piles on my desk of business cards. And some of them are really easy. It's like, okay, your name's on there, your company's on there, your title's on there, your contact info is on there. Makes sense. I can turn it over, I can jot a little note if I need to, and I know who you are at a glance. Some people, if you're a consultant or you're a self-employed person or you're in transition, somebody tells you you have to have business cards. So they run out to Staples and they get business cards printed with their name and their email address. Okay, remind me who you are? You know, I mean, yeah, it's nice if you have a photo on there, but you don't have to. Just tell me something about you. Because I don't want to have to spend 20 minutes writing down notes on the back of the card. Especially when I may meet 50 people over the course of a couple of days, and get business cards from all of them, it's like, okay, I know one of these 6 cards was looking for something. Okay, bottom of the pile, who can I help next? And just really try to make sure that what you've got is relevant to you. And feel free to have multiple business cards for different settings. And I've seen that done pretty successfully. I'm talking now about creating some new cards for me, because I'm a search engine guy. I've been a search engine guy for 15 years. In the last 2-3 years, all of a sudden I found myself this social media guy. Like, okay, it's not on my resume, it's not on my business cards, it's probably something I should do, especially when I'm out at something like this talking about networking. Hey, maybe I should have a card for the networking I do. So, guess what? I'm an idiot. Because you know what? Business cards, dirt cheap. Especially when you buy them in the volume I do. And boy, do I buy them in volume. When you do hand out business cards, hand them out intelligently. Just like you don't go, hi, I'm Todd, hi, I'm Todd, hi, I'm Todd. You don't hand out your business cards. Hey. Hand them out when they're relevant. Hand them out when it's the right thing to do. Same way you don't take the card if it's not a good fit. You don't give it out if it's not the right fit. Because remember, if you're dealing with an idiot and you give them your business card, they now have your cell number. And idiots keep weird hours. Oh, wait, I thought you were on Honolulu time when I called you at 2 in the morning. Basically, just don't be an idiot. I mean, it's really not that hard to be smart. To take that time to actually get to know people, to treat them like human beings, to not business card spam or handshake spam or, hey, really good to be here. Just treat people like you want to be treated, and it tends to work out pretty well. Now, I guess one last note is when somebody tells you a piece of information about themselves, be aware of it. Actually listen to them. And this may be the hardest thing for most people to do. If somebody tells you that this is what they do, ask them a question about it. And again, it doesn't seem to be natural to a lot of people. Because if you're an executive type, if you're an alpha type, like probably most of the people in this room, we're a bit egocentric. Anybody in this room not egocentric? No hands. Not a single hand goes up. So I think then we've all got a healthy dose of ego in this room. So asking questions of other people, not exactly a natural feeling for most of us. But ask the question. In Japan, when somebody hands you a business card, there's a whole protocol behind it. And it's a really complicated but beautiful protocol. You hand the business card with 2 hands. You take the business card with 2 hands. You look at it. You read the whole thing. You make a comment about it or ask a question about it. And it's this bizarre overstructure. You know, it's, yeah, here's my card. Give me a call. Never happens. It's, here's your card. Very nice card stock. Did you have this printed? Just something even as bizarre as that shows you're actually interested. Even if it's just a formulaic thing, it puts the impression out there that, hey, I'm not just shoving this into a pocket or onto one of the piles on my desk. But I actually care enough to look at this. Do the same thing with the information that's given to you. The whole active listening concept of, I hear you, and I actually care enough about what you're saying to pretend to be interested if I have to. But if you're actually listening, you may learn something. I know I'm starting to sound like Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids at this point, but you really can learn something, and if you learn something, you make that connection. And if you make that connection, things happen. And if things happen, everybody's happy. And if everybody's happy, you know what? You're not an idiot. Any questions, comments, complaints, bitches, moans? Yes?
I have one question. You talked about, starting from perspective being the numbers person, and you were, going to do this networking without talking to anyone. And so what was your break to actually get you to, obviously you said there was a list, you realized that wasn't effective.
Right. Well, you start and you say, you know what, it's not effective because it's just numbers collecting. And then I start looking around me and saying, why are some people getting a lot more out of this than I am? And you say, aha, they're getting more out of it because they're actually interacting with people. And then the more you interact, you kind of take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And then next thing you know, you're having 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches and a sensible dinner and packing on the pounds every day. Yes?
I found one of the advantages in networking is market research, life research, economic research, on the ground, what's going on in people's lives. So asking and listening is one of the things I've found, talking as little as I can and listening a lot to what people have to say about what's going on. And when they say they're in transition, I know what that means. So I ask them about it.
Right.
How long? Where'd you come from? What caused it? Where are you headed?
Right. What are you looking for?
You can, if you do it consistently, I don't want to say religiously, but if you do it consistently, you really can see the future.
Yes. Another nice thing about that market research is sometimes it's very profitable.
Always very profitable.
Sometimes you're talking to somebody and, they've got a little startup and they're looking for a little capital and, let me make that introduction. You spend 5 minutes making an introduction and, hey, what do you know? You get a nice little finder's fee and you get to take your wife out for a really nice dinner.
In Paris.
Depends on the deal. But yeah, all right, even if it's Paris, Las Vegas, or Paris, Texas. Next question?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, I guess the most intimidating thing is when you have a group of people that are already in conversation, and how do you step into that? Do you just go and just stand there until they say, hey, who are you?
You can do that. Yeah, you have to find your comfort level. So some people are going to be more comfortable standing there. Other people will be more comfortable saying, you know what, I'm going to circle back around to this group. There's somebody standing over there in the corner alone. Remember, like we said at the beginning, if you see somebody at a networking event, in theory, they're there to network. If they're standing alone, that means they're lonely. Go talk to them. Make a new friend. You never know where it'll lead. Next. Yes?
Yeah, I find a lot of commonality what you do and what we do. We use a word called FORM, F-O-R-M. Mm-hmm. F stands for family. We try to find out more about their family,
right,
how they are, and how many families they have, and so forth. And O means occupation, what they do.
Right.
R means recreation, what they like the most, and find a connection. And M means message, send them a message,
right,
and how we can give them a solution.
Right.
And that's how we connect with people.
And back to message, I guess another important thing to remember is follow up. If somebody does give you the business card, send them an email the next day. Give them a call the next day. Say, hey, it was really great meeting you. where do we go next? Can we have that second date? Yes?
I have a question. What if you're not in a networking setting? If I'm in a networking setting, the same sort of behavior is expected and may not come across as a surprise to the person you're talking to. But let's say I'm outside and I want to keep that networking mentality going, and let's say a group of gentlemen are playing golf. What is the best way to network outside of these networking events?
Well, it depends on your mindset. To me, I'm always, when I'm not sitting in my dark room crunching numbers, in networking. I can be standing in the grocery store line, and if I overhear something, hey, there's a commonality. Worst that happens is somebody says, mind your own business. Oh, okay. So you apologize and you move on. But there's such a lack of communication in daily life. Most people are really pleasantly surprised when somebody expresses an interest in their life.
So ask the question to the group. If you were in a group and someone new walked up and introduced himself, how would you react?
Sure.
99 times out of 100, you would say, hey, hi, and you welcome right in like you knew him. That's exactly how the rest of us are.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, you be a little sensitive to where you are. Doing that in a doctor's office may not be the right question. So are you here for something contagious? Not necessarily a good icebreaker.
How are you feeling?
But if they're sitting in the doctor's office reading Business Week, you may say, oh, did you read the article on such and such? And bingo, the ice is broken, and you're on your way. If they're in the grocery store line, did you hear Jennifer Aniston is dating, I don't know who the heck is Jennifer Aniston dating today. But, there's always an icebreaker there, if you look for it. And as some of you may have seen, the next networking event that I'm organizing is next Wednesday, and that's in Irvine at Chateau, which used to be iLounge, which used to be something else. But for showing up tonight, we've got half off the admission if any of you want to show up. Easiest way to do this is if you drop off your business card, I can send you an email with a URL that'll get you the registration at half price, rather than trying to take money from all of you and not my cup of tea. And I really hope that some of you will come out and put to use some of the things you've learned. Anybody learn anything new today? Show of hands? Okay. Anybody not learn anything new today? You knew that patutugin mo yung funky music was to go on for play that funky music, white boy? I'm impressed.
I stand corrected.
Okay. How's this? I'll give you a more useful one. Panahon na para maglasing, which is now it's time to get drunk. So that one's a little more useful. Panahon na para maglasing. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you all for coming out and turn this back over to our moderator.